You're deep inside a mountain. The air is cold and still. The only light comes from a flickering torch in your hand. Then, your breath catches. The walls are alive with animals, bison, lions, mammoths, painted with such skill that they seem to move in the firelight. But the artist who made them has been dead for over 30,000 years, and no one knows why they were here. This is the mystery of Ice Age art. For over a century, we've marveled at the beauty of cave paintings, but only recently have scientists begun to unlock the secrets of why our ancestors ventured deep into the dark, armed with charcoal and ochre, to cover the walls with their visions. In 1879, a 9-year-old girl named Maria de Sautuola became the first modern human to gaze upon the bison of Altamira. Her father, an amateur archaeologist, initially dismissed the paintings as forgeries. They were simply too beautiful, too sophisticated to have been made by primitive cavemen. But he was wrong. Radiocarbon dating later proved that the Altamira bison were painted around 18,000 years ago. And then came Lascaux, with its famous Hall of the Bulls, dated to 17,000 years. But the biggest shock came in 1994, when 3 explorers stumbled upon Chauvet Cave in France. Inside, they found hundreds of animal paintings, lions, rhinos, bears, rendered with breathtaking realism. And the dates? 36,000 years old. That's nearly twice as old as anyone had imagined. The discovery of Chauvet blew a hole in our timeline. Suddenly, it was clear. Ice Age art wasn't a late, gradual development. It burst onto the scene fully formed, as if the first artists already knew exactly what they were doing. But the paintings are only part of the story. Look closer. You'll find handprints, dozens of them, stenciled on the walls, and strange symbols, dots, lines, triangles, and what some researchers call tectiforms, which look like flattened rectangles. These abstract signs appear over and over across hundreds of caves, spanning 20,000 years. Were they a primitive alphabet? A calendar? A map? No one knows. But their consistency suggests they carried meaning, a shared language of symbols that united Ice Age hunter-gatherers across continents. For decades, archaeologists have proposed theories to explain the why. Let's explore the most compelling ones. Theory 1. Hunting magic. In the early 20th century, scholar Abbé Henri Breuil argued that the paintings were part of rituals meant to ensure successful hunts. Animals were painted with spears or wounds, as if to symbolically kill them before the real hunt. But there's a problem. Many caves contain animals that weren't hunted, like lions and rhinos, and few paintings show humans. If it was about hunting, why would artists focus on predators? Theory 2. Shamanism. This is currently the most popular idea. Anthropologist David Lewis Williams suggests that the paintings were visions experienced by shamans in trance states. He points out that the hallucinations induced by sensory deprivation, like being in a dark cave, often involve seeing animals in geometric shapes, exactly what appears on the walls. The cave, in this view, was a spiritual portal, and the paintings were maps of the underworld. Theory 3. Teaching and learning. Some archaeologists argue that caves were classrooms. They've found evidence that young people were present, footprints of adolescents, small handprints. Perhaps elders used the images to teach hunting techniques, animal anatomy, or the stories of the clan. Theory 4. The signature theory. This one is more recent. Researchers have analyzed the handprints and discovered that many belong to women and children. So maybe the caves weren't exclusive male hunting shrines. Instead, they might have been places where individuals left their mark, a kind of "I was here" for the spirit world, or a way to claim a connection to the animals. But the most mind-blowing discoveries have come in the last few years, thanks to new technology. In 2023, scientists published an analysis of the red dots and lines found in Spanish caves like El Castillo. Using uranium-thorium dating, they pushed the age of one simple red disk back to 64,000 years. That's older than modern humans in Europe. The only hominins capable of making it? Neanderthals. That's right. Neanderthals were painting long before Homo sapiens arrived. The art wasn't a sudden innovation by our species. It was a shared human inheritance, stretching back into the deep past. And there's more. In 2024, archaeologists excavating a cave in Indonesia found a narrative scene depicting human-like figures hunting wild pigs, dated to 51,000 years ago. It's the oldest known representational art. This suggests that the urge to tell stories through images emerged independently across the world, perhaps as soon as our brains reached a certain cognitive threshold. So, after all these theories, what's the answer? The truth is, there may not be a single answer. The caves were used for thousands of years. Different groups, different generations, probably used them for different purposes. Rituals, storytelling, teaching, marking territory, or simply because making art is a fundamental part of being human. What we do know is that the act of painting was deliberate, difficult, and deeply meaningful. The artists had to carry torches and pigments deep into the earth, sometimes crawling through tight passages. They built scaffolding to reach high ceilings. They used the natural contours of the rock to give their animals volume and life. And here's the incredible part. When we look at those horses and bison, we see the same world they saw, the same muscles, the same grace, the same flicker of life. In that moment, across 30 millennia, we connect with the mind of another human. The art of the Ice Age is not a primitive doodle. It is the earliest surviving proof that our ancestors thought in symbols, told stories, and believed in something beyond the everyday. It marks the moment when imagination became visible. Every time we draw, paint, or even tap out an emoji, we are doing what those Ice Age artists did, reaching out across silence to say, "I was here, I saw this, it mattered." If this journey into the past fascinated you, hit that like button and subscribe to join us for our next exploration. What would you like us to uncover next? The first cities? The dawn of agriculture? Let us know in the comments. And until then, remember, every mark you make is part of a story that began 64,000 years ago in a dark cave with a single handprint. Thanks for watching.